Hello, everyone. Welcome to Commandant's Corner. Commandant's Corner, June 15th. This night on Commandant's Corner, the topic of discussion will be the local convention committee, what they're doing to bring fun and all of the exciting events, answering some questions. Please keep in mind, this is the local convention, more specific to the actual National Convention Committee. We'll try to answer those questions, but they might be a little bit more specific to Bob Borka or Jim Ransom. So we'll do our best to make sure that all your questions are answered. We'll open it up right now, as I always do, and ask my Commandant. Commandant Baker, go ahead with your opening remarks.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you have a great night tonight. I'm looking forward to what Scott's going to bring to the table. Scott Westerfelt and the Department of Florida have really been working extremely hard. I've not seen a department come together and so well organized as Department of Florida under Scott's leadership. Scott, I really appreciate what you've done, what you bring to the table, and what we will see in Daytona Beach. I think everybody will be very pleased, and I'm very excited myself. I got another Zoom call here in about 15 minutes with the Board of Trustees, so I'm not going to stay on for the whole time. Just want to welcome Scott and everybody listen and ask those crazy questions, because there may be other people that needs the same answer as you do. But I believe Scott can answer most questions about everything down there. And I'm looking forward to arriving. The only thing I'm going to tell you, on Monday night, we're having the cruise, the dinner cruise on the river, I guess it is, Scott. And I'm going to be hosting that. You got to pay for your own, but I'm going to be on there with you. So come cruise with the Commandant. I enjoy seeing everybody. Hope you have a good time. So Victoria, I'll turn it back over, and Scott, welcome aboard, and do a good job for me tonight, sir.
Hey, thank you, Johnny.
All right.
Thank you, Sir Commandant. We're going to get t-shirts made. Cruise with the Commandant. That's a catchy little phrase. I like that. So again, this meeting right now, not a meeting, it's a social. Please keep that in mind. It's social time. Ask any question that you might deem silly, unnecessary, whatever you think is trivial. Now's your time to ask. We want to be prepared for this. We want to get all those registrations done. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Scott. Go ahead and open up to any general comments, and I will wait for hands to be raised.
Hey, thank you, Victoria. Before we go one step further, I'm flying under false colors here, because this is not just my show, but I have a strong and able co-chairman, Barry Brown. Without him, this would be an extremely difficult task for any department commandant to do on his own. So my hats off and kudos to Barry. And I would go then the step further, how blessed I am with the staff. 3 years ago, we were selected to do this. We were excited, and the pandemic hit. And as we waited the months before kicking off, it fell apart like everything in the nation did. I felt that we were really quite blessed to be asked again 2 years later to be given another shot in fairness. And so we've worked hard to not let anybody down, of course. So we dusted off our old plans. Many people on the staff, probably about half, we had to change out and get others, and we replaced them, and things have gone really well. We have conducted a Zoom meeting every month, which is part of the requirements by the SOP. We've been in constant contact with Jim Ransom, who is the chairman at the national level. And we've invited, as often as we can, members from the national staff to be part of our planning, and along with the executive officer, Bob Borka. So as I said, a great staff. If you're going to do this, you better put one together. We've been really blessed. As a commandant for the Department of Florida, I was blessed with a great staff. And most people that do this as a host department are going to find when they build their staff for the convention, it's going to be filled with many of their own department folks, because it's pretty hard to go out and find a whole new set of people to understand the talk that we have. Daytona was quite the selection area, famous for a lot of things, but probably most notable nationally and internationally is the Daytona Speedway 500, Cope 400, and so much. Bike Week, you name it. And it's on the beach, just a beautiful beach. And the Hilton Hotel Resort is huge. It has over 700 rooms. We've got 400 something rooms, but I just want to caveat, the Department of Florida has nothing to do with the rooms. I get a lot of calls, but we pitch them to Jim Ransom. That is a national national responsibility. And I don't know if Jim's on, but he would tell you we've sold out, of course, at the Daytona. But I would tell those of you who are listening in, before you go to the alternate, check in with the Hilton, because now and then people who got a room early are bailing out. Not many, just a few, but you can look out. Now, I'm the commandant and co-chair for this thing, and I did not get into the Hilton, if you can believe that. But when I called the Hilton just to check, they had an opening and I got in. It was just a stroke of a real blessing from the Lord. And so now I don't have to go a half mile to another hotel. But it's a great location. I guess the biggest responsibilities is to make sure that we provide something for folks to do, just like the other departments have done in the past. So when I thought about this and I talked with my staff, I felt there were events that when we were out in Billings, they went out onto the prairie and had a chuck roast. I mean, how authentic and how apropos to go out to the Wild West. And I thought, well, what can we do at Daytona that would have that kind of punch? And I just kept running in my head, the Speedway, the Speedway, the Speedway. And that's where our early bird is going to be. Going to have it up in the Rolex room, which is next to, I guess they got a ballroom, but it'll be right there. You can look right down on the finish line. Unfortunately, we won't have a bunch of cars running around. They're getting ready for a race next week elsewhere. But at any rate, I am working with the museum to get memorabilia set out throughout the room. As well as they have big screen TVs, and they'll play old recordings of races from days gone by with Lee Petty, not Richard, that would be his dad, with some of the early on the beach kind of races. But there'll be a great buffet, which is, we cannot get our own folks. They have an internationally famous chefs who put out the spread, so it promises to be pretty good. But that'll be our kickoff for the early bird, and then we have a bunch of other events. Normally, I notice in the past it's 5 or so events, but we've kind of kicked it up. The one area, and I must say also as I start, we have not done this in the dark and on our own. Daytona has a convention group that we've been working with. We worked with them earlier, 2 years or 3 years ago, and they're back again. And so they've helped us with a lot of information in the Daytona area. And obviously, when you do this in an area, those folks want you to do things in their town. But I got an agreement with them to run one event out of town. When we bring people from the nation to Florida, one of the big highlights is to go see the oldest city in the United States, and that is St. Augustine, which is a 45-minute bus ride. And so they acquiesced and said, okay, that's the one event you can do. Everything else got to be in Daytona or the Daytona area. So we have 2 bus rides, 2 different days going to St. Augustine. When you get there, there's an old fort flown under 4 or 5 flags. And of course, you've got the oldest schoolhouse and a whole row of things to go and see. So you got that. Then there's the Halifax River that runs through the area. And so we got a couple of dinner cruises Johnny already talked about. He called me a few weeks ago and said, hey, when you're advertising, tell them the Commandant's going to be on the Monday boat there, and he'd like to, if you like to dinner and dine with the Commandant, get your tickets. And we're doing pretty well. I'll have one of my guys tell you our numbers here in a minute. So we got 2 of those, and there's a potential we may end up securing the boat all for ourselves, which is 130. And I think the dogs are looking into trying to do that. We also have, they have, like many along the Florida coast, a lighthouse. It's called the Ponce Inlet. There's a lighthouse. There's an aquarium, a sea aquarium. There's a museum and some shopping. So that's another area that we're going to take folks to. And one area that came up is out in the western side of Daytona within 30, 45 minutes. There's a Stetson area out there, an old plantation area, and there's a sawmill that makes these special make your own pancakes. And they got great shopping. So that's another area we're going to go to. And then of course, one of the big things that we're going to do that we do each time is the ball game. The MODD has used this in every city to present a large sum of bones to a local children's hospital or charity. And so they're going to do that again this year. I had, and I want to make note of this because initially we had the ball game for $40, which we thought with an air-conditioned coach going out there and having special, events that they were going to put on for us. After talking with the chief in a meeting here on Monday night, we went back to the drawing boards and we got better prices. And plus, the Department of Florida has decided, since this is such a charitable thing, we don't care what it's going to cost, but we want to fill the stands. And so we're working on some folks that have come and been big donors. And we're going to use that donation to have free busing, which lowers our price. So the ball game is going to be an incredible $15. That is a tremendous price. And I hope we can fill the stands and get folks out there. And it's really quite important that this event, that we have a number of Marines get there. So if those of you listening to my voice here, if you haven't been out there, I wish you'd go back to your departments and divisions and make sure that you broadcast this on those who are going to attend. Go to the ball game, $15. You're going to spend more than that on raffle tickets, and be out there to support the event. One of the things that I tried to make sure I told my staff from the beginning is that we're not in this to make a ton of money. I don't believe, it's my personal feelings, that that's what this is all about. What we're about, and my mantra is that I want people to come and at the least expense possible out of any member's pockets to go to these events. And when it's done and they go home, that they will go home with a, wow, that was a great time in Daytona. And I don't care if we have to lose a few bucks in here and there. Obviously, we're not in business to lose bucks, but at the same time, I want this, and we can afford to make this with donors to be a lot better cost to you. In fact, last point before I turn this over to any of my staff, one of the things that I just sent out on the 9th of June to all my 11 district vice commandants is a plan for the districts to reach out and touch their home areas for donations to purchase one bus for activities. That's $1,100. Already we've got 3 buses bought. Buying these buses help us a little bit on the price, and it also gives each of my districts a chance to contribute, even if they're out on the Panhandle or in the Keys and really can't get up to this. And so they have a hand in this, so we can say all of Florida participated in this. And to reach on down to our 50 detachments, I've challenged each of them to bring an item to the silent auction that has written on it in indelible ink, "This is Florida," and whatever part of Florida they're from. We've got folks that are down in Key West could bring something up when you buy it, it came from Key West. And maybe we can get a Miami Dolphins signed football, or a Jaguars, the new Lawrence kid, maybe baseball, one of our units down there. But there's something that people can contribute and bring, that when you come to see the Florida Room, you will see everything bespeaking of Florida. And so that's what our intentions are, and what we've done to put this together. One of the other things that we're trying to do, of course, is we're recording everything to pass on to Oklahoma, and they're in the throes of putting their stuff together, and any lessons learned, we want to pass that on. So that's kind of a, let's see, that I think I hit really the highlights there. I would say that on your staff, if any of you are going to bid to get in and do things, there are a couple of really key, everybody's important, but you get yourself a first-rate, top-rate paymaster, and get yourself a first-rate, top-rate event chairman, because those two guys, a lot is on their shoulders. And right in line with that next is get yourself a strong volunteer chairman, because we're looking at over 100 volunteers to pull this off. Everything from when you arrive at the airport, people are there helping to direct you to transportation. And our young Marines are going to be there helping to carry baggage out to the cars. Just a footnote, airport transportation is the responsibility of the individual travelers. The department is not providing any transportation. It's 30 minutes or so from Orlando. It's an hour at Jacksonville. There is a Daytona airport, which is much closer. But just like in any of our other conventions, you're on your own to get there. But if you look on the site, we have a whole page about who to contact when you arrive. Look at it ahead of time so you can get yourself lined up for transportation. We'll have staff members in the hotel every day. It's a big hotel, a north and a south wing, and you'll feel like you need a compass to get around, but just look at one of our staff folks. They're there to direct you for the easiest route to get around. And we'll have folks on the buses riding to the events. Just an example, if you're going to St. Augustine, we got folks from the St. Augustine detachment who know the area. And so on the way up, they'll have handouts of St. Augustine when you get on the bus. They'll be able to give you a short spiel about St. Augustine, what to see, how to do it. And then they'll hold Q&A and help you get there. And we'll have some refreshments on the bus going up and coming back because it's hot. And the last thing I would say, a lot of people say, well, get yourself the local school buses, or church groups have buses. And that's true. And we did try that. The county won't let us use the school buses, and the churches have insurance issues. But my first and original thought, and it's hung in there, is you're coming to Florida, and in August, bring your sunscreen and find a place for shade. And so we're going to try and provide a circuitous bus route around. One of our guys, Andy, has nicknamed it the Liberty Bus, but it'll be kind of a step van kind of thing that you see in your communities. So you can step up on it. We're going to run a route around the Daytona area for you to get on and off. Everything will be air conditioned. So when you get off the hot street, you get in and get on some good transportation. When you're going to an event, you're going in an air conditioned vehicle. So with that said, I'm going to ask my co-chair, Barry, and any of the other, I've got some staff on board this evening with our, oh, and another big guy, I'm looking at his ugly mug here, Andy Hefty. He is our detachment, our department, and he is now the convention webmaster, and he is so good at all that he does. You need to get you somebody like that. And he puts stuff on there in an instant. And so thank you, Andy. Didn't mean to forget you. But Barry, once you grab the helm here and you got your 5 minutes, I use 40, so go ahead.
Thank you, Scott. I'm good for about 30 seconds, I think, or whatever. I think you've done an excellent job explaining all that and giving everybody the options. And I'm just anxious to hear from people and get a chance to answer questions and see what you guys think about it. So other than that, like you said, we've got a great group. We're looking forward to a great time. We have put a lot of work into this, and we really hope that you will attend and encourage other people to attend also. So
Hey,
that's
thanks.
all I have. I'm anxious for the comments.
Thanks,
Right.
Barry. Barry's also my judge advocate, Department of Florida, doing a great job. One day, hopefully we'll see him as our department commandant. He'll do a daggum good job. I'm going to just ask real quick, Andy Hefty, because he's dealing with the when you send and punch your button, he's the guy that's keeping tabs on all of this. So when you get to the Florida room, Barry and our detachment have workers that'll be there with your envelopes, and we're going to use armbands instead of pieces of paper, so that you'll have an armband with the event on it, and it just makes it easier when you show up at the bus to get on and be counted. But your envelope will have all of that in there. Also, when you check in there at National, when you turn around from their table and do an about face, you're going to see an easel up against the stair rail, and it will have an arrow pointing downstairs a flight to the Florida room, which is where you will go and get your ticket stubs. And we've got a long Excel spreadsheet of anybody that bought anything in alphabetical order, just in case there is a dispute or somebody said, I thought I bought that. We'll have it listed and can make quick work to help you if there's confusion. But we hope that all the envelopes, like in the past, will be stuffed when you see call your name out. And we'll have small groups of A through G. We'll have 4 or 5 groups, so you don't have to wait in a long line. Go to your alphabetical zone and get your ticket, and there'll be a paper document there that you'll sign that you've received it. And so, Andy, I know we've had some changes and all. Is there anything you want to add before we go further that might have been a change that folks ought to be listening to or paying attention to?
Thank you, sir, Commandant. There was one question that was put into the chat. There is a small cost to the Liberty bus, but that cost is for the entire time. So you definitely want to go ahead and get your wristband for the Liberty bus. And that way you can go anywhere you want on that route at any time that it's open. I believe they're going to be securing it at 2000 each night, but that will give you plenty of time to go out to a place to eat or a watering hole, whatever else the case may be. Yeah, there's plenty there. The events are all listed. There's also a calendar of events. And if there are any questions about the site or about anything, just hit the contact us button. I'll be sure to get to you. May not get to you within 5 minutes, but we'll certainly get your questions answered. I see Roscoe is putting all the links up during the chat. Keep checking those out. The tours are all going to be great. The lighthouse, I've been to there. I've been to St. Augustine, great places to eat, shop. We even did just a plain old shopping trip to a local outlet mall area that's really nice. So if you want to go out and spend some money that's not specific to the convention, that's not a bad place either. But definitely check us out. I'll be in that Florida room most of the time. So look me up, say hello, shake my hand, punch me in the face. No, don't punch me in the face. But we look forward to everybody being there.
Hey, thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. One other point as he brings up about shopping and the trips and all. The Overflow Hotel is about 4/10 of a mile from the main hotel. It's an easy walk on down, but we're going to provide some limited transportation starting at 7:30 in the morning to get folks down. I think most of the business meeting stuff kicks off at 9. So we'll make several trips back and forth before we begin using those buses to do the circuitous route around Daytona. And then in the evening, when business meeting is over, about 1600, we'll run buses again back and forth to the hotel for those who can't make the walk. And again, it's going to be hot, but That's our plan of attack there. With that, Kathleen, are you on?
I'm going to need to take over just a second, Sir Commandant.
Okay.
A couple of things. There's a lot of things happening in the chat. Once again, let me remind you
Sure.
to open the chat window. All you need to do is hover across the bottom of your screen. You'll see a chat bubble. Open that up and you'll see a lot of hyperlinks that are being shared by Ray Morrell from the Public Relations Committee. Second thing is there are also questions coming into the chat. Keep in mind the Q&A will happen very, very, very soon, and it's best to virtually raise your hand because those questions are getting lost in the chat. So I'm going to pass it back over to Commandant Westerfeld now. So please raise your hand when you have a question. I know I have some written down that came in the past week. So just
Okay.
raise your hand.
Again, Kathleen, are you on board? I think she might have had a meeting this evening. She's our paymaster. Any questions that come in concerning that, I think Andy can answer most of them. But at any rate, I just got on the chat and I saw here, thank you for lowering the ball game. Let me see if I can answer some of these. The date of the ball game, I think that's a Thursday ball game. No, Tuesday ball game. Okay. And then if you click the calendar, okay, people are telling you how to get on. Do we sign up for events on the national site or on the Florida site? Once again, this is a 3-step, easy to follow. Go to the national site, which has the flag. And if you scroll right under it, it'll say National Convention. Step 2, punch that. When it opens up, step 3, scroll all the way to the bottom, and in blue ink, it'll say events and local site. Click on that. It will open to the Department of Florida, my smiley face saying welcome. And then if you just scroll down, you will see events. Click the events. And there's other boxes there too for MODD stuff, but just look at all of that. But if you want to know how to get the events, it's simple. 1, 2, 3. To answer your question, if you did come just to our site, you can still on our site get to the events. Buses will be all of them air conditioned. Speedway, okay. Oldest city, good. Is there a charge for Liberty? Just covered that. Baseball come out, okay. Looks like good advertisements here. Praise the Lord. Please ask your question on the video. Okay, Liberty Bus will make regular runs. I'm just going down the chat real quick, and then I'll look for the waving hands. Okay, a little info on the West Volusi ball game. Want to leave early? Will the buses be able to? I think if you want to go early, that you might be on your own there. We do own the buses, but having them run all the way back and come back for 2 or 3 people, I don't know. We can investigate to have, if the game's a runaway, or maybe because people just come and want to see the Devil Dog event and then want to go home, we can offer a mid-game return. Let us look at that. That's a pretty good question.
Commandant Westerfeld.
Yeah.
I am encouraging people to raise their hands because the chat is not being recorded. So
Okay.
it's very important that we hear the question and the answer.
I will.
So
I will do that,
the
Victoria.
hands, get those hands up right now. I'm going to raise mine and get in order. Let's do this.
Okay, participants 50. Okay, and so this was an advertisement, a trifecta of the Ponce Leon and et cetera. Let me see if I can find another question. That's a boat cruise, banquet, single seat, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, and in case those of you who haven't heard yet, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, it's going to be our guest of honor, General Dave Berger. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Me and him shared a quad out in Okinawa when he was a major and I was a lieutenant colonel. Something went very awry with my pattern of promotion. Let's see, 59 Chief Devil Dog. Okay, good. Yeah, he's going to do the Thursday cruise. And so he was looking to get as many dogs and spouses on the Thursday dinner cruise. All right, I've hit all the questions there. So Victoria, go ahead and fire with the questions.
All right, first up, we have a hand up by Andy. Go ahead, Andy, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. One other point about the website, the convention website, it does have a lot of information about ground transportation from Jacksonville, Daytona, Sanford, and Orlando. So check that out. If you are not going to rent a car, but you still want to get from the airport to the hotel, it will be a really good resource. And there are certain shuttle services, especially from Orlando and Sanford, that you can get that will be a lot more affordable than renting a car. So just wanted to point that out. There's a lot of links there. Check it out.
All right, thank you, Andy. Next hand up, we can't see virtually, but he's waving at the camera. That's Bill Mance. You have the floor, sir.
You're on mute.
Thank you, Kathleen. What I wanted to say was on the Andy was talking about the transportation from the airports, especially Sanford and Orlando. Groom is a company that does the transportation, and if they come in as a group, they will all be able to get on there and get a round trip ticket. Groom is the one I would contact. They also handle Daytona as well. So Groom is one of the outfits that I would recommend them trying to get in contact with as far as getting transportation from Sanford or Orlando or Daytona. Another thing I wanted to talk about, this dinner cruise, the numbers on it has really gone up here in the last week. This thing tops out at 130. If we look at this shortly, we may be full for both cruises. I may have to go ahead and just book the boat for both nights. So if we see some big increase of people are asking questions, they're interested in this dinner cruise, they better get signed up for it because it looks like it's going to fill up. Also, the Daytona, the St. Augustine trip, there's a lot of history with Daytona, St. Augustine. A lot of Marines probably don't know this, but there was a Marine barracks at St. Augustine at one time. There's a lot of military history there, but the information, but this is out of the county, and Volusia County wants me to try to keep most of the people in Volusia County, as Scott made a comment about before. We haven't had much interest in the West Volusia part. Andy has it on the website telling you about what West Volusia is. It's the Leon Springs. It's the natural springs. It's a historical place. At one time, it was one of the most tourist sought after places in the state of Florida back in the 1800s, early 1900s. They used to have steamships that actually come from Jacksonville down to Orlando area and then built a train and everything to it. But anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to mention about. But especially I wanted to make a comment about the dinner cruise. If you're interested, you better get signed up because it looks like we're going to fill up on those. That's all I have, Victoria.
Thank you very much, Bill. Okay, a question that came in on Facebook a few days ago. The dinner cruise, is there a fixed menu, a buffet? What is the meal that is being presented?
It's a buffet meal. It has it's got seafood, it's got beef, it's got chicken. It's for the meal it will be very enjoyable. I've talked to 2 or 3 people who've been on the dinner cruise, and they said it's well worth the money for the trip. It's an 1.5 hour cruise, the dinner cruise. It goes down the I'm not sure if I remember the name of the river. All I know it is at the Intercoastal River, but
Halifax.
Halifax, that's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
And also, Bill, did we not put the menu on the website?
Yes, it is. It is on. If you go to the dinner cruise, you can read it and it tells you what the menu is on the website. Andy's done a great job of having everything on there that we need. One of the things I did want to say that people that register for the convention, if they could take the time and let us know what they're interested in so we can make plans to make it better for everybody to move around and get to where they want to get and everything, because Florida can be hot in August.
All right, thank you so much. More questions are coming in. Again, if you can virtually raise your hand, please do. It's hard to see the screen while I'm recording. There is somebody named Jerry that seems to have a question before we get to the virtual hands. Jerry, you have the floor. Kevin, you are on deck. Jerry, you may be muted if you're speaking. We will come back to Jerry. Kevin, you have the floor. Andy, you are on deck. Kevin, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Just a simple one. What's the uniform of the day for the, like the business meetings and things?
Okay, that's more of a formal convention type question. All of your uniforms of the day should be advertised on the website. The joint opening session will be red blazer. Thereafter, minimum cover, and then you can dress down. But that is more a question that you could probably take up with your department commandant or reach out to us at the Public Relations Committee. We'll help you through that.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Andy, you have the floor unless Jerry, let me reach out for Jerry one more time.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi. I've had some questions about the West Volusia County tour. It's advertising one price, but then it's talking about going in 4 different areas. And are those separate charges? How is the logistics of that trip as far as getting around?
There are, if you go to the West Volusia, it's the national park. That is one event. I mean, there's a pancake house there where you can actually sit down with a group of yourselves and cook your own pancakes for in the morning. They have different tours. They have an airboat tour. They have a regular tour on pontoon boats, and it's probably like a 45-minute to an hour tour. You'll be in West Volusia for about 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours. And then if anybody wants to do they have a walking tour, and we will provide the transportation from the DeLeon Springs to DeLand, which is about 8 miles away. For the walking tours, it's about a lot about the history of DeLand and Central Florida back in the 1800s and everything. So it's it being in August. I went in May and it was warm, and I live here. So in August, a walking tour could be kind of warm. So if you're not up to something like that, I don't recommend the walking tour. But the Leon Springs, it's under great. It's all. If you've ever been to Florida, it's all about being in the vegetation, in the wildlife, and everything, the springs and everything.
Bill,
I
let
think
me,
to answer the question, Phil, it's
Yeah.
each item within the West Volusia tour is a separate charge from the actual trip to and from.
That's actually what we were thinking. And
Yeah.
are those prices posted? Because we just had the one price for the tour. And then they were asking what happens with the other tours and what are those prices and where do they sign up for those things?
The price for the West Volusia is the prices to get you to the DeLeon Springs and into DeLeon Springs. But
Right.
if you want to take any of the tours, like the airboat tour or the pontoon boat tours, that's a separate price. You have to pay that separately. And then
And
the
to find out
pancake,
what those charges are, you want to click on the links because we want to use
Right.
their prices on their sites instead of posting them and promising something that may be subject to change.
yeah, because if you go to that link, it actually tells you what the tour is and how much it is, and you can go ahead and register for that tour then. And that way you don't have to go through us. You can register your own
Okay,
tour.
so you could pre-register.
Yes, you can.
You could pre-register for those tours.
Yes, ma'am. you can.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you, Jerry. Great question.
Thank
Great
you.
answers. Andy, you are up. Mike Francis, you are on deck. Andy, go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to turn to my computer over here and read to you what is on the buffet for the dinner cruise, just since that was brought up, which is also on the site. Pot roast ham, roast turkey, vegetable lasagna, steamed shrimp, garlic sauce, prime rib, and a dessert of choice of baby key lime pie, chocolate mousse parfait, and unlimited soft drinks or iced tea.
Thank you very much, Andy. Is that all you had to share there?
For now, yes, I'm a man of many words.
Stand by for more answers. I'm sure we'll need you. Thank you, Andy. Mike Francis, you're up. Ray Morrell, you are on deck. Go ahead, Mike.
All you devil dogs out there, there's something brand new this year for the convention. The Honorable Chief Devil Dog, 59 Chief Devil Dog, has requested that all dogs who plan to attend the Supreme Growl go to the MODD website and pre-register now. And that is Military Order of the Devil Dogs, all one word, org. If you need that information, check the chat box. I'm about to post it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. That's great that you have that on recording so that people can watch that. All right, Mike, Ray Morrell, you're up. Danny Thomas, you are on deck.
One thing I want to point out for all of you guys that are new to a national convention is all of the activities that's taking place, or all these special events and activities, are completely separate from your convention registration. Your convention registration is completely separate from your hotel registration. So hoping that can help clarify. So again, what these folks is the local host convention committee, what they want to do is showcase, in this case, showcase Florida. So when you come down there, you're not just sitting in meetings all day long, all night long, and take full advantage of the recreational opportunity that abides to us by going to these national conventions. Again, if you go through the chat, you see all the links. I did put out a link for each individual event, but there is a main website link that's on there as well. All of this information is on there. That is the actual shopping cart that you can select your extracurricular activities, which again are completely separate from your Marine Corps League convention registration. And also with your convention registration, this is more so for those that are new to national conventions, you have to submit that information through your detachment leadership, and they submit it to the national office. And the reason for that, it allows verification of you as being a member in good standing, that allows for your detachment, much less the department, the proper votes that they need when it comes time for elections. So I just want to share that information for all y'all.
All right, thank you, Ray. Great points to bring up as it pertains to the differences therein. Danny, you are up. Bryce West, you are standing by. Go ahead, Danny.
Hey, good evening. So I registered for the Daytona thing here several months ago. I can't find my registration. So where would I find that to know what I registered for?
Are you talking about events or your actual credentials or hotel? What are you talking about?
All of it. Second national convention. So I'm just looking, I don't find it in my email. Where would I find that at? Or what would be the heading maybe?
For hotel, just call the hotel. I'm sure they can get you your stay and your reservation number. For your credentials, what's
I
that?
have that. It's just the Daytona registration. I'm sure I've done that. And then we registered for some events. And that's what I'm looking for, is the registration for the conference and then the events.
All right, Commandant Westerfeld, you want to take the events?
Yeah, I would, Andy, tell them where to send an email to you so you can do a special search. And we will do this, and that's part of our job here. We got a few people that are going to lose stuff or misplace it, or like me, just forget it. Andy will be answering those and fielding those grounders. Andy, go ahead and tell them what to do.
Yes, send that email to mcl.fl.webmaster@gmail.com. And I'm already starting to look you up, Danny. You do seem to be registered. I'll give you a verification as soon as I have it.
If you can put that in the chat box, that site, that email address, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Sure, can do.
Thank you very much, Danny, and thank you, Andy, for sharing that email address. Bryce, you are up. Doris, stand by. I'm sure your name isn't Doris, but we'll find out who you are soon enough. Bryce, go ahead.
Hey, Scott, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Bryce.
Hey, looking forward to coming down there in Florida to visit with you and your wonderful state down there, and y'all hosting this, being a part of the Southeast Division and y'all hosting. I'm really looking forward to it. Quick question. Have you reached out? Is your governor, Ron DeSantis, going to be there?
Good question. Good question. I got the answer right here. I'm working with the governor's veterans fella. His name is Hammer, Major General Dave Hartzell, whose nickname is Hammer because he is the first Marine Corps officer in 60 years to become double distinguished. but he also is an 03 and just a wonderful gentleman. I sent the letter to him, formal. Johnny saw it and Jim saw it, got the blessing. We're waiting. Hammer said that the chief of staff in Florida is, they put this schedule together 60 days out. We should be hearing something, but we have asked him to do opening remarks. We sure have.
Fantastic. Thanks,
You know
sir.
what I was thinking, just to add on, is that I'm hoping he's as smart as he looks on TV and all. If he wants to reach national population and exposure, he should come to this thing. Well, wait, we're non-political. I know.
I
Just
agree.
saying.
Taking a few hands. Thank you,
He's
Bryce.
our
Great
governor.
question. Great answer. All right, again, don't know your first name, but go ahead and introduce yourself and you have the floor, sir.
Jerome. I don't know how to get my wife's name off the thing, but anywho, I have a question for Mike Francis. As a pup, I wouldn't be able to go to the Supreme Growl. Do I still have to register on national?
The chief would like for you to register, number one. Number two, you can go and get your passport stamped, even though you cannot attend the Supreme Growl. And you can tour the kennel dog house and you can shop in the kennel store while you're there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Woof, woof.
Great questions. There are no more virtual hands and I can't see the full screen. We have about 10 minutes left before the end of the recording. So please get those hands up right now. Don't question mark anything. Don't guess. As Danny and Scott so easily said, you forget stuff, and that's okay. So let's get these answers done on the recording right now because your question could be the same as somebody else's. See, we've already got some virtual hands going up. Audrey, you are up. Stephanie, you are standing by.
All right. So my question has to deal with preparing. So when I go to the convention, how easily accessible will be things like grocery stores nearby? I know I'm going to need a lot of water to drink because it's going to be so hot and I want to stay hydrated. So is there any information you can provide about that? I understand that there is transportation. I'm just wondering how close things are.
Yeah. My answer, let's see, I'm off of mute. Okay. I've been down there a number of times. And I would say within just a mile or two, there's quite a bit. I mean, they've got a Bass Pro Shop and all. When you have that kind of stuff, there's, yeah, I know. And they got guns. But yes, there's I think you'll find it easy enough to get around, grab an Uber and go if it's too far. But yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Audrey. Stephanie, you are up, and Clark Bell cannot virtually raise his hand. You are on deck just after Stephanie. Stephanie, go ahead.
Good evening. My question is for those of us with food allergies. If we are signing up for dinner cruises, etc., how do we communicate these food allergies to you so that we may be accommodated?
I believe that we'll need to know ahead of time so that we can get you an answer how they deal with one-on-ones. I do believe that, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, they do have a vegetarian plate, but even on the vegetarian plate, there can be things you can be allergic to. But you would have to tell us in advance so that we could at least alert the folks. And plus, if you will get the webmaster, it just ended up on the chat there, the webmaster, give your name to him so that we in particular then can reach back to you and tell you what we found out, okay?
Great question, Stephanie. Thank you
Yes,
very
I'll keep it
much.
down for you. Thank you.
All right, Clark Beal or Bell, and I apologize if I'm messing that up. You have the floor.
Yeah, I just got a question. Y'all gonna have a Zoom for the business meeting?
What business meeting?
For down there, for the business meeting for down in Florida. For them.
Well, that'd be a national question, not us, but yes, Victoria.
Okay, there's a Zoom meeting? I don't understand the question, to be honest with you.
I'm thinking what he's asking, can people, are they going to be able to get in like on Facebook video?
Yeah.
There's video in the conference so you can see it. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, for a Zoom meeting. We got several people. We got several people that, due to health reasons, they can't come down.
Yeah.
And we just wonder if you all gonna offer a Zoom.
Okay. As far as I know right now, the Public Relations Committee is not going to offer a Zoom. In the past, we had streamed live on Facebook. That also has ceased due to privacy reasons and disclosures not being signed. So we are going to be recording those sessions that are not that don't contain any secure information, edit it, so you can look for those recordings on the national YouTube channel about a week or two after convention.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Semper Fi.
Janice, you are up, and it looks like that's my last virtual hand, unless I can peek in chat and make sure we're not missing anyone. Go ahead, ma'am. You are muted.
For those of us that have service dogs, is there going to be a problem on the bus transportation or the ball game or the dinner cruise?
You know, I don't know. Bill Nance, what have you learned from Candice on the dog business?
As long as it is a service dog, it's a recognized service dog, you are allowed on the bus or the vans with the service dog. But it can't be a pet. It's got to be a service dog.
Right. I have certification ID for my dog.
Right. As long as it's a service dog, especially in the state of Florida, you have to recognize it as, and you have to be able to accept the dog. But if they cause any damage, you're responsible for damages to the vehicle if the dog.
Oh, yeah.
And I know service dogs do not do that, but I just wanted to pass that along. Also, I wanted to make a comment too about the lady that asked about the food. If you would contact me, I'll contact the dinner cruise people and find out about the allergies people have. My email address is chopper, CHOPPER _55 at Comcast.net. And I will find out for you about the food allergies or anything like that. And then you can ask me or ask Annie. We'll get the information back to you.
Hey, Bill, go to the chat and put your email on there.
Okay.
Now she'll have 2 emails that you could reach out to.
Okay.
All right, very good. Before I do closing remarks, I heard a voice. Is somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I'll still need a clarification. I got the clarification on the bus. But what about the ballpark and the dinner cruise?
I will have to check on the dinner cruise. That will be another thing I'll ask about the dinner cruise. Yeah, I will check about the service dog and on dinner cruise.
Because I know several devil dogs got service dogs.
Sure.
To include myself. So mine is just a little tiny one, but we've got some that are a lot bigger.
Well, I do know that the state of Florida takes service animal requirements pretty seriously. So
yeah,
I can't imagine any business turning away somebody with a genuine service animal.
Well, but just the same, we want to be correct and right so that you know the right answer. So let's get the answer out, and we'll put it on the site, especially about service dogs. We need to find a place, Andy, to put that so when folks are looking in, they've got it. And that's a good question about not just the hotel or buses, but at the locations, you know. But I think, like Andy has said, we're with Governor DeSantis. He is so veteran oriented and he understands the disabilities and all. I believe we're not going to have a problem, but we'll make sure that we plow that ground and get an answer out, and we'll put it on the website. Okay.
Thank you.
If you want to specifically be told, how about send a note to Andy or on the email, and he will go directly back to you and let you know the answer, either him or Bill Nance. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Before we go through closing remarks and the announcement of our next Commandant's Corner, Commandant Westerfeld, do you have any closing comments in the next couple of minutes? Come on in.
I would just say that as many division national vice commandants that might be on, for all of you that are in commander or commandant and leadership positions, get the word out. we had real slow sign up for events. It really, I'm kind of like an expectant father waiting for a surge, and it wasn't happening. And I'm like, oh no, this can't be a bust. But it's picking up. And Bob Borkert said when he did the midwinter, everybody was doing a rush at the end. One of the things that we will reach, and we haven't put limits like so many people only at this or that. We'll take anybody that's asking to go. And up until the 30th of July, we're going to have to close things off because that's when we contract for buses and all. So at any rate, my modus operandi has not been to say, oh, only 300 people can go to Daytona Speedway. I want 800 people to go there. I mean, who's going to ever get a chance to walk at these iconic places? So we're going to err on the side. If we got to dig a little deeper to break even, we're going to do that. So come on out. We look forward to it. And thank you for a great opportunity to talk about it, Victoria. And thank you for the great questions. Some of them have given me pause to go back and be a little clearer in the things that we're saying on our site. So thank you. And for my staff, thank you all for being on board tonight, supporting and answering these questions.
Thank you all for all your hard work that you're putting into this. This is a huge undertaking. We did peak out at about 62 participants live here. Remember that this recorded session will go on the national YouTube channel for sharing. Just get it out there, just get this word out there. The National Public Relations Committee will continue to share on social medias all of the events. Just quick announcements, and then we're going to shut off the recording. Coming up, we will start again an unrecorded, completely unplugged membership Zoom. We're not going to call it Commandant's Corner. We are doing MCL Members Unplugged version, June 29th at 1900. We will get a dissemination out soon, and that is not a recorded session. This is going to be free speech and total social, talking about anything you want to talk about. Okay, that is on June 29th, 1900. The next Commandant's Corner, and remember, it is not just for commandants. Everybody is invited. July 14th, we are using the topic of discussion will be associate membership. Our regular members need to know more about our associates, what they can and cannot do, how their uniforms are supposed to look, whatever questions you have. So we invite all associate members to be a part of that, to ask their questions there. So those are the few announcements. I am going to stop the recording. I hope to see you all very, very soon next month. And I wish you all a good night. Good night, Chesty, wherever you may be.